Hello and welcome to Online Learning in a Hurry, episode 14. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like for that student on the other end of whatever is happening right now. I know that I've talked to a lot of faculty in the last, couple of weeks who are desperately trying to figure out how to make fair and equitable assessments and how to finish out this term in a way that still allows for people to get credentials and still allows them to prepare to apply for something else next term and all kinds of different business. And I mean, those are all very important issues. And certainly I did a presentation this morning, and one of the first points that somebody brought up was academic integrity. How do we make sure that students aren't cheating? How do we make sure they don't get an advantage in their final assessment? I think those are real issues. But what I really want to do right now is talk a little bit about the situation that a lot of students are actually in. So for a lot of us who are moving to online learning as educators, it's the first time that we're doing it, or we've never done it in this context, or we've certainly never done 12 weeks of a course and then desperately tried to turn it into an online course. Like, that's not something people do. So that's really hard. For a lot of those students, their lives have been upset maybe a little bit more than that. So we've got students who are no longer living in the same location they were before. We've got students whose main point of internet accessibility was the university campus, which they're not allowed to go to anymore. We have students who are potentially at home taking care of sick relatives or dealing with 1,000 other kinds of stresses that are involved in this process. So if you're an international student, you don't know if you're going to be able to get home. There's all these issues that are relevant in people's lives right now. And yet these students are still trying to finish out their term. We have some groups of students who are saying, we want a graded end of term, and the Alberta Student Association is saying this, we want a number grade and we paid for it and we want what we paid for. We have other students who are suggesting that they need more choice in the process. So there's no unique student voice out there with a particular requirement that they have. What we have are a lot of people who are scared or nervous or frustrated, or frankly, trying to beat the system, right? So all those people are out there. But I think what we need to be able to do right now is think about siding on the side of student care, right? Siding on the side of pedagogies of care, thinking about the fact that, you've got some students out there who don't type very quickly. And suddenly we've moved their writing assignment from a face-to-face environment to an online environment. So where they're perfectly happy to write at speed, now they're being confronted with a timed assessment that means that they don't have time to finish in the way that they would like to. We have other students who maybe have an accessibility issue that doesn't show up in a face-to-face classroom. It only shows up when they use the internet in one way or another. We have the ability for students in a face-to-face exam to ask a question, right? That's pretty tough online. Suddenly you get confronted with an exam and you're like, I need to ask a question of my faculty member. Not really possible to get done. So I guess the thing here is that every one of those students, every individual student has got another story right now that they weren't expecting when they started the course. They didn't sign up for this either. And I encourage everybody to think about all of those different varieties of issues whenever you go about designing your assessments for the next couple of weeks, or you go about adapting your course. Think about what it's going to be like for a student to sit down and have to listen to a 2-hour video and then pull information out of that and then try to do a timed exam in a week and a half later. Just imagine that experience. Put yourself in that experience and imagine what is fair, what is equitable, and what makes allowances for the fact that, some students are going to be trying to do exams on their cell phones because they don't have a device, because maybe they lived in a residence that had a device between 2 or 3 people. Now they don't have access to it anymore, right? This is not about students not being prepared. This is about a once-in-a-generation experience that none of us has experienced before and none of us could have prepared for. So try to keep their best in mind. Try to keep yourself as calm and as realistic as possible. And maybe this term, when you start looking at the conversation between academic integrity and student care, that you side all the way over on the student care side. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.